The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin-Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Connect podcast, connecting business to the community. I'm here today with my co-host, Blake Polino with VP Media Group.
So we're so excited that you're listening again this week. We have a great episode where if you've probably passed by a VFW and wondered what's happening in there, we want to explain that in this episode. We sit down with members of the VFW to explain what this organization is, how they operate, and some opportunities for some great events and even dancing right here in Angelina County.
Well, good morning, guys. Glad to have you here.
Hi, yeah. Thanks a lot for having us.
Why don't you introduce yourselves to the listeners and tell who you are and a little bit of your background, and then we'll talk about the VFW.
Okay, great. My name is Ashley Bratton. My position at the VFW is post commander. So I'm in charge, good, bad, or otherwise.
Okay.
Responsible, anyway, is probably the best way to put it. My association with the VFW came about primarily based on my military service. So I was in the Army, active duty for about 7 years. And during that time, I did 2 combat deployments, one to Iraq and one to Afghanistan. So that was part of my eligibility for the VFW. I ended up coming back to East Texas after my military service and had a friend from church who wanted me to get involved with the VFW, and that's kind of where it got started.
Yeah. So are you from this area?
I am. I was born in Lufkin at CHI now, and then went to school in Huntington from kindergarten through high school, graduated from Huntington.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah. Gerald, why don't you tell about yourself?
My name is Gerald Spradlin. I am the auxiliary president for the VFW post. I am in under my grandfather, who was in World War II there and is my hero. And so he died when I was young, and so I didn't get to do a lot for him. So this is my way of being able to honor our veterans and serve our veterans by being able to do it there at the VFW for our veterans.
That's great. Great.
And just to be clear, we refer to the auxiliary as the backbone of the VFW.
Everybody needs a backbone.
That's right.
We need a
That's
whole
right.
group.
Because they do so much for us. And,
That's right.
And my way of putting it is the auxiliary is why we have nice things. Because if it was just up to the veterans, we'd tear it up or burn it down or whatever it is. You know, don't worry about the muddy boots coming in, that kind of stuff. But they keep us in line a lot.
That's great.
For those who may not know, I feel like we've all passed the facilities. Everybody's seen them. Everybody's familiar with the acronym. But what is the VFW actually for people who may not know about that?
You bet. So that stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it is of course, a veterans organization, but it was founded with the principle that our war veterans needed a specific kind of help, service, resources, that kind of stuff when they were coming home from war. And bearing the consequences of, what they saw or what happened to them or what happened to friends during that service time. And so that's part of our eligibility requirements to be a member and to be involved is you have to be able to document war service overseas. But then you have a place to go, to continue to serve, to, make connections with other brothers and sisters in arms and, serve.
That's great.
Probably.
And who's eligible for the VFW as well as the auxiliary membership?
Right. So in a nutshell, if you served in a foreign war.
But then the auxiliary.
Right.
Because I didn't realize that you could serve in the auxiliary if you hadn't served. That was new to me.
You bet.
So on the auxiliary side, you just have to have a relative that qualifies to be in the VFW, and it can be your spouse, your grandparents. It only goes to grandparents. It doesn't go past great grandparents.
Okay.
So that's the same thing, and all it requires is the DD 214 for the one you're wanting to come in under.
Sure.
Or if they were a VFW member at any VFW, they can give us their number and we can actually use that because they've already been certified to be able to get a membership number.
Well, that is completely new to me. I didn't realize that. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I had no idea. And so is it like a members only club venue? Like what does the membership actually gain you? Like what do you actually do?
That's a common misconception. Of course, the organizations themselves have membership requirements. But even if you don't meet those requirements, we have events all the time that are open to the public.
Sure.
Right. So we encourage people to come out. We even get help. Sometimes we were just at the post last night. A guy was helping us with some lighting issues. He's a veteran. He's not actually eligible to be a VFW member, but he wants to be involved and he wants to help. And we're happy to have it, you know. And of course, if he needed anything that we had resources to be able to help with, then we'd be glad to help him. So we're glad to do that. But, you know, we have our cantina open throughout the week. We have dances, we rent the venue, and anybody's eligible to, you know, come and participate in those things.
It's fantastic.
So, you know, one of our favorite things to do over the years has been to come and dance because you always have a live band. It's been so much fun. So why don't you tell people about that maybe don't realize that you can come and dance at the VFW?
You bet. So we've been having, for the last handful of years, anywhere from 1 to 3 dances over the course of a month. One of those is hosted by the Lufkin Dance Club that's here in town. But then usually the VFW is sponsoring, you know, the other one, so to speak. But yeah, we make it pretty easy.
It's the best place in town if you love to dance. Because it's non-smoking. Yep. There's no fighting. Everybody's happy. It's great music. You know, it's a great place to come. It's been funny. We'd walk in and they're like, "Oh, the youngins are here."
Right.
And it's probably a lot of that now that you come back, you're actually seeing that where the mix is so much different than what it was. Is because I think there for a little bit, or probably a long time, not a little bit, but the perception was it was the older club, the older group that came out there. That's not our place, you know. And as a transition has happened, you know, of new members coming in, and just especially since COVID, and we got to reopen, and it's kind of a breath of fresh air. It's been the deal of saying it's really for everybody. You know, the misconception is it's for this little group, or the other misconception is we're only known for the carnival.
That's
You know, we're way more than the carnival. You know, the carnival is only a 4-day kind of part of us, you know, and there's all the other days. But if you come out now, you're going to see that it's actually transitioning. We still have our diehards that still come out there and dance with us, but we are slowly getting, you know, younger people as they like to refer to them.
It's great. It's a great place.
So I think that transition is interesting because that is kind of what I had always assumed, that it was just kind of a much older generation. But because of the nature of the group of people that you're pulling from, you know, veterans of foreign wars, as those wars have progressed, you know, in my childhood, it was almost entirely people who were in World War II, right? And so, but as things have progressed, now you have people who've served, you know, in the Middle East and Afghanistan and Iraq. So that generation of people are now becoming members. Is that kind of how it's transitioned? Is that fair to say?
Yes. It's taken a while. We're seeing some slow snowball effect on that.
Yeah.
But there's also perception of it's old people in a smoke-filled bar, right? And just like you were talking about.
It's fantastic.
Right, absolutely.
Because you can go home and not feel like you've been in a bar.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Exactly. And we're seeing more and more of the younger, you know, veterans start to come out and participate. Now, it's still a challenge because, you know, a lot of our officers right now have full-time jobs, have kids, or other obligations, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's still hard to balance all that with, I mean, quite frankly, there's a lot of requirements to run an organization, to run a nonprofit.
Sure.
We got a really nice facility. It's big, but there's a lot that goes into keeping it up and maintaining it, you know, and that kind of stuff. So it's good to see some younger involvement. We will always take more, though.
Always.
So
let's talk about the facility, because if I recall, several years ago, a tornado came through the facility.
That's right.
That's
right.
What have y'all done since then?
Yeah, so it was late 2009.
God, that doesn't seem like that long ago.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Working on 13 years. When the tornadoes come through, did a ton of damage, but basically tore our whole building down. So they, you know, finished that process, I guess. And then in early 2010 got started. I think it was March, April,
Okay.
got started building the new building. Now, for the most part, I believe the layout is generally the same. They use a lot of the same space and foundation and that kind of stuff. But our building is one of the best in the state, arguably maybe even one of the best in the nation when you look at VFW halls. Unfortunately, sometimes you see them driving down the road and it's this dilapidated,
That's right.
clearly abandoned, that kind of thing. But we've got a nice brick building. We're actually putting a fresh coat of paint on the walls right now. We're looking at more entertainment type items and that kind of stuff in our cantina and other games and things that we can bring in. We've got a 42 tournament that just started
Nice.
On Tuesday nights.
Awesome.
So we're trying to get that stuff going. But yeah, it's nice. We're working on keeping it up. It's hard sometimes, but
It's worth
big,
it.
nice dance floor.
That's right.
All that good stuff.
So how long do you serve as post commander?
Our terms are only
As long as you want.
more or less. Our terms are for 1 year. So
Okay.
we do have to get reelected each year, but there's no minimum or maximum per se.
Okay.
So if I wanted to submit my resignation to that, no.
It's funny because elections are upon us.
Oh, there you go.
that's why, that's why we're joking about it, because we're both, we know we're both going to continue in this position.
Good.
But we joke with each other like, are we sure we want to do this? But we love it. I mean, we truly do love it.
That's great. It's a calling.
Yeah. What other opportunities are there for veterans if they want to be involved beyond just the member benefits and things like that? What opportunities are there?
Sure. So, of course, we kind of talked about managing the facility and running the facility. Sometimes it's just about the comradeship of knowing that there's other people that have had similar experiences.
Sure.
A big part of the transition out of the military as well is that, people that end up in the military either start with an interest in serving and giving back, that's kind of part of them, or it gets developed, over the course of their military service. So they get out of the military, get away from that common goal, common mission, and maybe sometimes kind of fall through the cracks or don't feel like they still have that same connection. So it's a great place where you can connect with other people and reestablish that sense of a greater cause, a greater mission and service that, again, for a lot of people is just kind of part of, what we do. So more specifically to your question, there's maintenance that needs to be done, regularly on our building, from changing air filters, cleaning up, all that kind of stuff. And I should say too, we're an all volunteer organization at this point. So if it's getting done, it's from people who aren't getting a big paycheck, right? So it pays off in other ways. But there's also administrative things, as with any organization where there's a local version, there's higher levels of command, that kind of thing, all the way up to national. And there's responsibilities that we have just to maintain the organization and requirements to maintain our charter. There's requirements being a nonprofit that the IRS even has.
Right.
You have to be doing community service.
Right.
You have to be accounting for your financials and that kind of stuff. So all of those are things, whether it's a project to go, help a veteran build a porch, so they can get their wheelchair up the ramp to the house, that kind of thing, to even basic accounting, stuff that needs to get done on a regular basis. So
That's awesome.
the best thing would be to just reach out, at the post, find us on Facebook, that kind of stuff. And really, we're at a point where there's a lot that needs to be done, and a handful of people that are sharing that workload right now. But we can have people serve in ways that, to some extent, that they want to, or that complement their skills, their abilities, and that kind of stuff. And that's where we're trying to work people in.
That's great. So what do you need from the general public? How can we help? If we're not part of the auxiliary, not part of the VFW, how can just the general public help you?
You bet. So probably, it starts with just being aware that we've got events going on, right? Come out and participate, have a good time at a dance, come out to the carnival, of course, that kind of stuff. We have memorial ceremonies. We have commemorative dates and events that we do. Watch for those things, come out and participate. Some of the big ones that are coming up are actually Memorial Day. So we have a service at the post on Memorial Day at 11. Then we have Flag Day coming up in June. So we'll do a flag retirement ceremony at the post. It's always good to have people just come out and see, and participate, show their support, at those types of events. And then consider us as well. We're a nonprofit. We have bills. We've got a big building to run and that kind of stuff. So we certainly appreciate and accept donations, whether it's in-kind donations or monetary donations. That's always really helpful. But then if writing checks or donating things isn't really in your wheelhouse, then we always need people to help run an event, to help paint a hall, or just things that are going on, to maintain the building, to advertise, to just all the things that come along with running the organization.
I think that's one thing that is extremely important for everybody to understand. Just because you don't necessarily qualify to be part of the post or be part of the auxiliary, that's just a small sliver. That's a meeting once a month kind of deal. So we have tons of volunteers that aren't part of one of the groups, but they still come out and help us make the lunches for the VA clinic 3 days a week that we send over there. They still come out and help us do dinners for the dances. So you can still be a volunteer. We would love for you to be part of the organization, but you can also be a volunteer. And if there's something you're strong in, and it's your passion. We have volunteers that love to make the mats for homeless people, homeless vets. And we give, just lost one of our members that used to make the heart pillows that we would send down to the VA clinic. She had recently passed away. And so there's other things. So if you have a calling or something that's very special to you, reach out and see if we can plug it in somewhere with our veterans, because our mission is veterans and veterans families and community.
That's great.
So, wherever we can plug it in, our main focus, of course, is our veterans. But there's, why the family side is even more important is so many of our veterans are passing, and that wife only knew military service. And all of a sudden now the husband's gone. And she needs still that connection. Or that daughter, our son, knew how strict daddy was. We were raised in this military house, and then all of a sudden daddy's gone. And so they still need to connect and still visit with veterans to make them feel close to dad or mom or whoever it was that was their hero. That's great. At the time. Yeah. So, it's very important to remember just the membership side of it is very small for us. I think that's a misconception. It's like, well, if I don't qualify for that, I can't do anything, but there is other military organizations that don't have the same requirements that we do, that we team up with too. So if you might not qualify for us, but you might qualify, say, the American Legion, we will let you know, hey, still volunteer with us, but we will send and get you in contact with the American Legion if you want to truly be able to join and not able to do it under us.
That's great.
That's awesome. So, that's one of my favorite things about this podcast. I love when we have the opportunity to debunk myths or misunderstandings about organizations or things in the community. So that's really great. It's good to know that, and good for our listeners to know that as well. Where can people find you? So if they want to be involved, if they want to know about the events you're having, where are you putting that information out? Where can they learn about that?
Really, the best place is Facebook. So we have a Facebook page. There is, just be warned, there is an old VFW Facebook page, but the latest post was in 2014 or something like that.
What do they need to search to find that page, or what's that page called?
So it's VFW Post 1836 Lufkin.
Awesome.
Okay? And a lot of people are familiar with the Cross of Malta logo. It's on my hat here somewhere. Where is it?
That's on my shirt.
There we go. There we go. And that's our profile picture. So that sets it apart as well. So
perfect. And you've got events coming up. I know you said at Memorial Day, Flag Day. What else is coming up?
Yes. So big thing that we're excited about that's going to be an ongoing event is every second Friday, we're doing a steak night.
Oh, fun.
So you can come out and have a steak dinner at the VFW. Big shout out to Logan's Roadhouse, who has been a huge help in not only supplying food or helping us get that, but also in preparing and serving the meal as well. And we're using that as a bit of a fundraiser. So second Friday for till we run out of steak, I guess. Awesome. So that's a great one. We also have now I'm drawing a blank, of course.
The biggest fundraiser. Oh, in April. The
Cheers with the Chamber.
We have Cheers with the Chamber on the 26th. I'm super excited about that. Which Cheers with the Chamber will be we have launched the Cantina, which we're super excited about. But it is also going to be our official kickoff for the Buddy Poppy Memorial Day event that we do. Last year was our first time to do the Buddy Poppy Extravaganza. It was amazing. This year, the Buddy Poppy Extravaganza will be on May 21st, which is a Saturday before Memorial Day. And then you will see us and our volunteers and our servicemen and women at Walmart, Brookshire's, Tractor Supply, the whole Memorial Day weekend with the Buddy Poppy. And once again on Buddy Poppies, we clarify a myth on that. Buddy Poppies are free. We give out Buddy Poppies as a reminder of the people that were left in Flandersfield. Yes, it's becoming that they donate to us, but you don't have to donate to us at all to get a Buddy Poppy. We want the Buddy Poppy in everybody's hand, so everybody remembers the sacrifices that were made during that time. But the other thing that's kind of neat in our organization, Buddy Poppy is 100% restricted funds. And so what that means is none of that money can go to pay the electric bill or do anything. It 100% has to be spent for veterans and veterans families. And so last year, the community was amazing. We put it together quite shortly and raised just shy of $30,000.
Wow.
That's awesome.
This year, our goal is $80,000. So we will be kicking it off at there. We will have kind of the Buddy Poppy sign. We'll color the Buddy Poppy in 3 different locations around town. One will be located at our post. One will be located on the corner of Denman Avenue with the Stand Farmers Market. And the other one will be located over on Frank Street beside Donna's Florist.
Great.
And there's going to be the new Edward Jones office being built over there. So, we're really asking our businesses, our corporations to team up with us because that's what allows us to do the air conditioners for veterans, help them with medical stuff, help them with gas. The misconception is, you can grab the bus and go down to Houston. You can, but the bus isn't adaptive for everybody.
That's right.
So there's other veterans and some veterans can't handle being that close. So they need their own space. And so we're able to give them gas money and stuff like that to be able to go down there. And those funds 100% go for that. So that is our biggest fundraiser of the year, as far as for restricted funds. Most people think of the carnival. We love the carnival, and carnival is part of us. And but we want the carnival to actually just be almost the secondary. Our main thing is that we're here to help our veterans, and the money goes 100% to help our veterans.
And the carnival's in the fall, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Always the first weekend in October.
Okay.
Yep. And that all just highlights the kind of thin line that we have to walk as an organization, because we do have to fundraise, we do have to keep the lights on and that kind of stuff. And we do have an organization to run, building to maintain, that kind of thing. But the VFW's motto is no one does more for veterans, right? So ultimately that first mission is to
do everything we can.
Yeah, do what we can to help and have those programs and projects, whatever the need may be, to help take care of veterans.
Well, remind everybody again what the Facebook page is.
Yeah, so VFW Post 1836 Lufkin.
Okay. So go look it up and like it.
Yeah, yes, please. And look for the Cross of Malta logo. But that has regular event updates and even reminders about other veterans issues and commemorative days and all that stuff.
Well, and that's the other part. It's really important to remember the commemorative dates. I think there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize. We just recently, Vietnam,
right.
And then I think the Persian, the end of the ceasefire for the Persian Gulf, has recently taken place. So also remember, look at that, because that's also going to be an education for you to remember, because there's so many events that we don't think about. All we think about is what was notified to us through, when the first, attack happened or this or that. But there's so much more behind it that was so much celebrated, like the ceasefire for the Persian Gulf, and stuff like that happened. So
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was really, really informative, and be sure to check out that Facebook page, and truly appreciate your time this afternoon. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. We truly appreciate everybody that's listening. We're just blown away every single week by the amount of support that this is receiving and the number of people who are downloading these episodes. So thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. If you want to watch the video version of this podcast, you can catch that on the Chamber Facebook page and on the Chamber YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.